Now these little knobbly bits underneath here are caused a little bit of a confusion for everyone. They are quite easy to do. You use the move tool and we'll constrain the move using the down arrow or the up arrow, which constrains it in a Z direction. Like all things in SketchUp, basically they have to be sort of coplanar, and imagine you're making it out of paper, so if it's not a fold line there, it does tend to struggle. So the base is 700 by 700, I think. What I'll do first off is just select that and turn it into a component. Call this pad and then create. This is an in-model component, so I'm not too fussed about that. I'll position that there, I'll copy that to there, and I'll go divide by 2, and that puts one in the middle. And then I'll select that, move that, or copy that down to there, and again divide 2, and that puts each one in its position. So if I double click this now and then use my offset tool and go in 100, I've created the offset, which is 100 all the way around. Now I need to pull this inner thing down by 200 mil. So if I select this, I'm not sure whether I need to select the edge as well, so I'll try it this way first. I use the move tool, and let's make sure I can see some clear space. If I just try to move that, it's just moving it about. If I hit the down arrow, however, it forces it down, and it sort of folds, it puts folds on the corners, which is similar to pressing the Alt key, which will also auto fold for you. That's the term it uses. But that auto folding, you see the little cursor next to the cross sign, there's a little folded bit of paper type thing. That's the auto fold thing happening. Now I need to enter 200 for that, and because it was a component, they've just all sorted themselves out. So that was nice and quick. Trouble is, where are my bits gone? Here they are. So I need now to extend this. I don't know how big, so I'll just double click and make it a certain size to start with, and then I can go around the side and use the move tool, and we can rotate this. Oops. Rotate this once through 90 degrees and through 90 degrees as well. Now this is going to go into here at the top and 3.5 meters down. So I'll position that midpoint to midpoint. Just make sure you pick it up from the midpoint, okay? And then you move it in to snap it to the midpoint. So for this one, I can push pull, make sure I've got the right face. Oops, wrong bit. Push pulling sometimes is a little harder. It does auto scroll, you should be able to. That's why I prefer to use scaling for these sorts of things. And line that up with that face, and that should have got that there. That's perfect. Now try to do as many things. If you're going to copy certain objects, and we need to copy this from here down first of all, but then also to this point. This is rotated through 90 degrees, so it's going to be slightly different. So first of all, I'll just copy this down 3.5 meters. Now it doesn't matter where I pick this up from. 3.5 meters from this. If I pick it from there and go down 3.5 meters, it's exactly the same. Whoops, it's exactly the same as picking it up from anywhere else. So move that down, tap the control key, and 3,500. That's perfect. Now if I select both by tapping the control key again, and then moving from this point to the same relative position on this thing, then that should get us in nicely. Now these are both selected, so I might as well use that selection to copy from that point. Was it that point? Yes, from that point all the way over to the same relative position. So that's that bit done. Oh, I should have copied these as well. That's wasteful. Sometimes you struggle to zoom in and out. Just get it on the axis, lock it out by pressing the shift key, and then you can move it to your heart's content. Okay, so that's that bit. So I'll pick these two up. In fact, I'll pick the 4 of them up this time, and then move them from the midpoint of this, or copy them, should I say, from the midpoint of that to the midpoint of this. Doesn't matter that they're off kilter. I know, at least I know that that one and the one below it are in the right position. These aren't. So if I double clicked this and started making push-pulling stuff, everything will be affected. I could make this unique, okay, so that will separate it from everything else, but I might as well just use the scale tool, because I can select both of these and use the scale tool. That doesn't affect the other components. It's only when I edit the component by double clicking on it will the scale factor make any difference. So select that and that, S for scale, and the scale tool is very useful for all these sorts of things. Because you pick the middle blob, it's only moving up and down on axis, so it means that you're free then to move your mouse to line up with an edge that you know is the face of the thing you want to select. So we're nearly there. Now what I'm going to do this time round is rotate these but copy them at the same time. Okay, now I might as well do these 4. Then I'll get this right, and that'll be right for this side, so I can copy that over. Now we're nearly done. Next stage is into layout. Okay, so by selecting these 4 and then using the rotate tool, I'm making sure I hover over this flat top and press my shift key to lock out that plane, otherwise the rotate tool will rotate itself to any face that you care to offer it over. So find a nice flat face, press the shift key to lock out the rotation, then we'll move into the midpoint of that there. Make sure your first line, so I've clicked at that point, now I'm free to move my cursor now. I've locked, I can take my finger off the shift key, that's locked in position. I want to move it on the red axis because I want to rotate this through 90 degrees, so I need to know that I'm on an axis line. So click, as I start to rotate, you notice that these things are rotating. If I tap the control key, I copy the rotation, and then I can move that through 90 degrees, and job done. Now this is ooh, look at that, slightly out. How annoying is that? This thing is going to be miles out as well. So I'll use the scale to just line these up. It shouldn't take too long. So S for scale, and you can usually find the midpoint of the scale just by hovering over one of the middle ones, moving it to the end, and then sort of tracking back. And once you've got that, you're good to go. And I'll do the same thing this side. Find the middle one, and then track into that edge. Now I can't do that with the middle ones. I have to just kind of select both of these ones. Scale 1, 2. So I've got the second one. I need to just find this edge. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. This one I think is okay. Certainly okay for printing out anyway. So then select that, and that. Hit the move tool, pick a point on that and move it to the same relative point on that. So that's all done there. Just in the middle. So we've got have we got a different setup in the middle? No, we haven't. So I divide by 2. I don't know whether that's too late to divide by 2 in this instance, so I should have done that. But anyway, I'll just move from that point, or copy from that point to that point. Okay, so that's nearly the frame done. If I can just delete these construction lines, which are getting in the way a little bit. We're nearly there. Just the structural T to go. That's going in here somewhere, or somewhere across there. It doesn't matter really. It's going in somewhere. We'll select that, and again double click to edit it. Push pull it. Then you can rotate it by using the move tool. Hover over one of these little crosses. Rotate that around. Then we'll move it to the midpoint. We're trying to find the midpoint of one of these edges, so track until it jumps in. There we go, midpoint there, and S for scale, and pop that in there. Now these things will be held in with angles and brackets and all sorts of different things, a la the other SketchUp steel thing that we've built, the component thing, but this is building the steel frame. So it's all quite simple really. Once you've got your basic profile, then it's just a question of extruding it, copying it and scaling it to fit, and it doesn't take too long. I've probably made a few sort of errors on the way there. It could have been slightly slicker, but I think 12 minutes to build that isn't too bad. Alright, so the next bit is taking it into layout.